Now more than ever, innovative technologies are fueling change and sparking new ways of thinking. Collaboration between corporations and startups is key to staying at the forefront of these trends. However, finding the right startups can be expensive, time-consuming, and ineffective. But Plug and Play is here to help. As a corporate partner, you will gain access to a whole ecosystem of innovation. Discover startups that meet your tech interests. Stay updated on the latest trends and network with industry peers. We will help you during every stage of your innovation journey, no matter where you are and where you want to go. Get in touch today.
Hi everyone, welcome to our third program in the Mobility and IoT vertical that we run with our funding partners MEXT and Aygaz. My name is Geleceğin and I am the country director for Plug and Play Turkey. We are in our third program and today is the public part of our third focus week. We call this day a meetup day. And this focus week is the last one of our third program and our fourth program will start in September. Well, this week's theme, as selected by our founding eco partner MEXT, is Mobility, Key to the Future. Mobility is the lifeblood of our cities and is essential for urban life. Yet, mobility technologies have also become crucial in making factories smarter. These solutions can help manufacturing companies optimize operations and make them more sustainable. With these developments in mind, we will explore some sub-areas of mobility, such as autonomous and connected vehicles, drone technologies, IoT, and mobility services. We have selected some top startups from all around the world that will present their technologies and know-how today, and we will have an insightful keynote speech and a panel discussion. Of course, all focus on the recent mobility trends. I would like to remind you that at Plug and Play, we truly believe with our network of hundreds of blue chip corporates, 40,000 plus startups, 200 plus venture firms, universities, governments, and all the other stakeholders, we created a powerful ecosystem that can make an impact. You may check out Plug and Play's website and YouTube channel to see some of our achievements. As I always do, I would like to state that the main goal of the events we organize, such as this one, is actually to help you with your innovation journey. You can follow our events and request to have follow-up meetings with the startups that present, or may contact us to get more information. If you would like to take your innovation journey to the next level and work more closely with Plug and Play, consider joining MEXT, Aygaz, and Odak as corporate partners. Thank you very much for listening to me today. I wish you an informative and enjoyable meetup day. Now I'll pass the stage to Barış Arıkan, Head of Ecosystem and Sales at MEXT, who will also welcome you as the co-host of this Focus Week.
MEXT üyesi şirketlerin çok kıymetli yöneticileri, ekosistemimizin değerli temsilcileri, saygıdeğer iş insanları, sizleri sevgi ve saygıyla selamlıyorum. Sağlıklı günler diliyorum. Bugün Plug and Play ile yaptığımız işbirliğinin bu yıl gerçekleşen 3. Odak Haftası'nda sizlerle birlikteyiz. Hepiniz hoş geldiniz. Plug and Play İstanbul platformu, açık inovasyonu global ölçekte ülkemize sahiplenen ilk program olması özelliğiyle MEXT çatısı altında IoT ve mobilite, lojistik, malzeme ve enerji alanlarında hizmet vermekte. MEXT olarak sanayinin dijital dönüşümünü hızlandırma vizyonumuzda İşbirliği temelli açık inovasyon yaklaşımımız önemli bir bileşeni teşkil ediyor. Farklı coğrafyalardan üyelerimizin somut ihtiyaçlarına uygun en iyi girişimleri dijital fabrikamızda test ediyoruz. İleri teknoloji ekibimizin güçlü mühendislik bilgisiyle girişimlerle birlikte kullanım senaryoları geliştiriyor, pilot çalışmaları yürütüyoruz. Girişimlerin sunduğu ürün veya çözümleri böylece yakından inceleme ve onaylama fırsatımız oluyor. Teknolojik yetkinliğe ek olarak yatırım yönünden de MEXT Ventures ekibimizde girişimleri değerlendirmekteyiz. Türkiye'ye açılmak isteyen ya da Türkiye'deki varlığını büyütmek isteyen girişimlerin akıllı para ortağı oluyoruz. Özet olarak MEXT şirketiniz özelinde girişimleriyle birebir görüşme, çalışma ve yatırım imkanlarını değerlendirmeyi mümkün kılacak bir ekosistem kurduk. Plug and Play ile yürüttüğümüz programa girişimcilik ve girişim sermayesi ekosisteminde aktif olarak yer almak ve işbirliği geliştirmek isteyen şirket ve kurumları davet etmekteyiz. Bunlara ek olarak Odak Haftası konuları dışında sizlerin özel olarak belirlediği konular çerçevesinde de ayrı programlar organize edilmesi ve girişimlerle buluşturma taleplerini değerlendirmekteyiz. Bugün 3. Odak Haftası kapsamında Mobilite başlığı altında yenilikçi çözümleri dinleyeceğiz. Mobilite alanı hem ülkemizde hem dünyada köklü bir dönüşümden geçmekte. Sürdürülebilirlik trendleri, paylaşım ekonomisi ve dijitalleşme bu dönüşümü tetikleyen faktörler arasında yer alıyor. Elektrikli araçlar, bağlanabilirlik, otonom sürüş, mikro mobilite iş uygulamalarının yanı sıra günlük hayatımızda da yerini giderek almaya başladı. Bugün nesnelerin interneti, drone teknolojileri ve otonom sürüş teknolojilerinden 7 girişimin mobilite alanındaki çözümlerini sizlerle buluşturuyoruz. Bu teknolojileri büyüme aşamasında olan, ürün ve hizmetlerini başarıyla ortaya koymuş, dünyanın en büyük sanayi ve teknoloji şirketleriyle başarılı pilot denemeler yapan girişimler arasından seçtik. Ayrıca bugün girişimleri dinlerken hangi alanda nasıl deneme çalışmalar yapabileceğinizi, bu uygulamaların hangi problemlerine de çözüm olabileceğinizi de değerlendirmenizi rica etmekteyiz. Bu süreç boyunca ve sonrasında firmalarla düzenlenen birebir görüşmeleriyle ihtiyaçlarınızı daha net ortaya koyabilecek ve pilot denemeler yapabileceksiniz. MEXT ekibi olarak da biz de sizlerin yanınızda olacağız. Her alanda destek verip süreci en pürüzsüz hale getireceğiz. Program ile ilgili her konuda MEXT ekibimizle iletişime geçebilirsiniz. Bu programda oluşturduğumuz çerçeve ile hem girişimlere hem de kurumlara büyük bir fırsat sağlıyoruz. Güçlü işbirliği ve ortaklıkların sayısının artması ana hedeflerimiz arasında yer alıyor. Beni dinlediğiniz için çok teşekkür ediyorum. Umuyorum ki keyif alacağınız, sizler ve şirketleriniz için fayda sağlayacağınız bir etkinlik olur. Görüşmek üzere, sağlıkla ve hoşça kalın.
Thank you, Barış. Next, we have our keynote speaker, Zolzaya Chultanbat. Zolzaya is the partnership leader of What Three Words. It's a late-stage startup that has a system which encodes geographic coordinates into 3 permanently fixed dictionary words. And What Three Words is used by businesses and governments to operate more efficiently, and by individuals to find and share locations. Over 650 businesses, government organizations, and NGOs in over 170 countries are using these 3 words addresses. Today, Zolzaya, who is responsible for auto partnerships, will tell us more about What Three Words and the best use cases of it by auto and manufacturing companies.
Hi everyone, I'm Zolzaya from What Three Words, and it's my absolute pleasure to join Plug and Play today. I would like to start my presentation by telling you a little story about something that was invented a long time ago, and that is street addresses. So street addresses we use today were invented a few hundred years ago to help deliver a mail, maybe on a horseback. They were invented when maps used to look like this. But if we think about how we interact with addresses every day now, we type them into our smartphones, we type them into our car navigation, and more increasingly these days, we're speaking them into our devices. However, how we address cities and how we address places today more or less remain the same. So this needs regular updates, this requires very manual updates. So in places where the development pace is really, really high, the address infrastructure just really struggles to keep up, and we end up having to do things like this. So the entrance is at the side, or you have to provide very descriptive addresses, and there's a big mismatch between digital mapping and the official addressing. So even if you do manage to find the address on a digital map like Google, it usually drops a pin in the middle of the building. So as you can see here very clearly, there are multiple entrances to this big stadium. You may want to find where exactly a specific parking is, but the address solution we have today just doesn't accommodate for that. And there are other examples like this. So Church Road is an example from where we are, based in London, where we are in London. And if you search for Church Road London, it gives you suggestions like this, and it can be really confusing if you don't know the full address. But if we add voice into the equation, it becomes even more confusing. So I have a very quick video to demonstrate how exactly it looks.
In 1993,
Yeah.
which number one
Hey Mercedes,
Yes, please.
take me to Church Road, London.
Select an entry, please. What do you want to do?
As you can see here, it's not an ideal user experience. The navigation is working perfectly, the voice assistant is working perfectly, but it's just the addresses we're using. It's not designed for the digital age. And similar problem from the US. So if you say to your car, navigate to 241st Street, it can be 241st Street here, or it can be 241st Street. They sound identical to the voice recognition, and they're very close to each other. So again, it doesn't allow for a very smooth user experience. And this is a big problem because as you can see here, according to a recent JD survey, navigation was actually one of the most desired, the most desired feature for how drivers want to use voice command in their vehicle. And allowing for a smooth entry of destination of where the drivers want to go is actually an essential requirement for this function to work perfectly. And we thought that there needs to be a better way. And you all might be familiar with this solution, which is latitude and longitude GPS coordinates. So they're very precise. They work the same way everywhere. It's global. However, the only issue is that GPS coordinates are not very human friendly. So it's very unlikely that I'll cite out this 16 digit if I invite my friends over for dinner, for instance. So we wanted to take the precision of this, but make it more human friendly, and that's exactly what we did. So we've divided the entire world into a grid of 3 meter squares and assigned each square with unique combination of 3 words from the dictionary. So what this means is every single 3 meter square in the world, whether it's a busy street in India or a very, very scenic spot in Tokyo, or even a very beautiful spot to see the balloons in Turkey. And what's really happening in the background is we're essentially translating these GPS coordinates to 3 words to make it more human friendly. I've shown you some English examples, but we've actually done this in 51 different languages, in fact. And we want everybody to be able to use this in their native language. So we have Turkish, German, English, Japanese, Korean, and many more. So you might have noticed that all the words are random, so they've been randomly assigned by our algorithm, but we apply some intelligence. So the first one is we place similar sounding words really far away from each other. So if I make a mistake, it becomes really clear. So in this example, table, chair, lamps is in the US, but table, chair, lamp is in Australia. So if I'm in Australia and trying to navigate to table, chair, lamp, but accidentally say lamps, the machine will immediately recognize that I meant table, chair, lamp. So it helps the problem we discussed earlier, which is the Church Road and 241st Street. So we have a free app and map site for users to find out and search for 3-word addresses. And this is a screenshot from it. And where it gets really, really exciting is when companies start to incorporate what 3 words. So this is Lonely Planet. It's a famous guidebook you might be familiar with. So in every single point of interest they recommend in the book, they have added 3-word addresses so the readers can find exactly where it is that they need to go. And there are other examples similar to this. The O2, it's a very famous concert venue, and it has the same problem as Ajinomoto Stadium on Google, so if you search for it. But what they've decided to do is they have specified the 3-word addresses for all the key points around the venue, so their customer can have a smooth experience when visiting the venue. We have hospitals displaying 3-word addresses for their key locations as well. So especially in times of COVID, you had to specify where the COVID entrance was, where the patient entrance was, where the staff was coming in and coming out, etc. So, and then the other use case is companies accepting 3-word addresses. So this is an example from Domino's Pizza. So in select markets, they deliver to 3-word addresses, so your pizza can arrive while it's still hot and fresh. We also work with the likes of DHL, who also deliver to 3-word addresses. One of the other vertical that we're focused on is taxi and ride-hailing. So you can specify exactly where you want to go with a 3-word address. So you can input 3-word address in the destination bar to ensure that you arrive at the right place. And in the automotive space, Mercedes were the first to integrate what 3 words into their car navigation system. So as you can see here, you can either speak or type the 3-word address, and your car will take you exactly where it is that you need to do. So since Mercedes, we have launched with lots of different OEMs, including Lamborghini, Mitsubishi Motors, and Subaru was the latest one. So here's the list of the OEMs that we're working with. And more excitingly, we're working with some of the key suppliers like Amazon Alexa, Cerence, or here and TomTom. So OEMs can very easily procure what 3 words as an additional feature from these suppliers if they're already using them. And for me, the really exciting part is to see this movement of people using and companies using what 3 words. So this is an example of what 3 words tattoos. So some people decided to mark down their very special place using a 3-word address. So we have these examples. There is even a 3-word address beer. So Fear Movie Lines is the entrance to the brewery of Stone Brewery, and they have decided to name one of their beers after their 3-word address. And we see things like this, so 3-word address signs. So this is lots of companies ranging from DB Schenker to a small coffee shop in Tokyo. They're displaying 3-word addresses. So this 3 slashes stand for what 3 words. So if you see signs out there, now you know what this means, and I highly encourage everyone to download the app and be part of the movement. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Zulzoya, for this great speech, and a warm welcome to all our guests today. I am Clemente Francavilla, and I work as a ventures analyst at Plug and Play Istanbul. It is my pleasure to announce today's technology focus and startups. As you might already know, today's topic is mobility. Lately, mobility technologies started to play a huge role in Industry 4.0. These technologies became one of the driving forces for companies to create smart factories and streamline manufacturing operations with mobility. In this meetup, we will host 7 top-tier startups from all around the globe, focusing on autonomous and connected vehicles, mobility services, electrification and energy, and drone technologies. So without further ado, let us start with the startup introductions that you have been waiting for. Please welcome Verity. Founded in 2014 in Switzerland, is a global leader in autonomous indoor drone systems and a leading provider of drone fail-safe technology. Let's hear more about them.
Your goal is to create a better, smarter warehouse that ensures the right product is in the right place at the right time, every time. But when inventory errors happen, and when they accumulate over time, your problems escalate. Costs rise, profits fall, and customer service suffers. The solution is automated inventory tracking from Verity. Using the power of self-flying drones, the Verity system fully automates the costly, labor-consuming task of inventory tracking. Installed in just days, the system operates completely hands-free to enable a zero-error warehouse. And unlike some automation projects that take years to create meaningful impact, the Verity system delivers immediate value and achieves payback in less than 12 months. Like bees collecting pollen to make honey at the hive, Verity's self-flying drones navigate through the warehouse, collecting accurate inventory data on nights or weekends, literally when you sleep. Once the data is collected, the system distills that information into critical insights delivered directly to your WMS. And with that accurate information at your fingertips, you can start each day knowing the right products are there for your customers exactly when they want them. Trusted by companies where failure is not an option, the Verity system tackles the task of inventory tracking so you can free your employees to focus on fulfilling tasks that bring greater value to your business. And by creating a zero-error warehouse, you can reduce waste and CO2 emissions, cut costs, and guarantee better customer service. It's fast, it's easy, and rapid ROI makes the investment virtually risk-free. That's the power of smart innovation. That's the power of Verity.
That was a great presentation from Verity's team. We'll now move on with our next startup from Germany. Founded in 2016, Copernicus Automotive enables AI-based driving of serial production vehicles. We'll now hear more about their product.
Hi, I'm Stefan, CEO and co-founder of Copernicus Automotive, and we develop automated valet parking Type 2. So what differentiates automated valet parking Type 2 from Type 1? In Type 1, you are relying on the sensors which are attached to the vehicle. See this little brain inside the car. That increases the bill of material of the vehicle. While in automated valet parking Type 2, we're infrastructure-based. That means we're relying on sensors which are installed in the surrounding, and we actually reduce the bill of material of the vehicle in production. With AVP Type 2, you can actually save money for human driving in production and logistics. In our solution, we equip the facility with infrastructure and necessary sensors and processing power, and we put an adapter software into the existing ECUs of existing serial production vehicles. And we put an AI inside the building, which does perception and path planning external from the vehicle, controlling the car via Wi-Fi, very much like a remote control toy car. So in other words, we teach the building to drive. This is important in factory automation. First, where it makes car production cheaper by orchestrated maneuvering in test areas, calibration areas, logistics, inside the production site. But then in the future, we will do automated parking with this technology. And even in the future, we believe that most vehicles will have minimum equipment and will be AVP Type 2 vehicles, while very few cars will have the full autonomous driving parking equipment on board. Last summer, we demonstrated this at the IAA 2021 in Munich in interoperability demonstration. We drove vehicles from Volkswagen, Audi, Porsche, Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Ford Motor Company, and Jaguar Land Rover. Thank you very much for your interest. We'd love to see you.
Thank you very much, Stefan, for presenting Copernicus Automotive. Next, we will hear about Soar Robotics, which was founded in 2019 in Los Angeles. Soar Robotics software-defined embedded solutions support extensive communication needs of autonomous vehicles, including industrial and delivery drones, self-driving cars and trucks, last-mile delivery, and industrial robots. We'll now listen to Soar Robotics' presentation.
Hi, I'm Dennis, co-founder and CTO of Soar Robotics. Our grand vision is to build the telecommunication systems to empower the future of mobility. We're building an operating system to enable an intelligent and flexible connectivity layer to provide ultra-fast, low latency, and secure V2X communications. By utilizing this layer, all players in the mobility space unlock new business opportunities and revenue streams by developing applications on top of our stack. Vehicles of new mobility, such as assisted cars, trucks, need a new connectivity system to scale safer, more intelligent, and more autonomous operations. Right now, all this depends on sensors and cameras. An intelligent connectivity layer doesn't exist, which can fully blend the data and utilize it in real time or offline. We know that it's a long way to full automation. With our technology, we support all levels of autonomy, from manual operation level 0 to full automation level 5. We transform today's connected and assisted cars into safe and intelligent vehicles that operate collaboratively towards the future of full autonomy. Through our connectivity operating system, we provide the building blocks for applications of road safety, collective perception, data collection, device management, and other services. Through our production-ready hardware, companies can collect, utilize, interact with data in real time from day one, and deploy their applications using LTE, 5G, CV2X, 802.11, and edge compute capabilities. We're already integrated with a broad spectrum of vehicles ranging from connected and autonomous cars, aerial vehicles, to robotic systems. To sum it up, we provide an OS and a software platform to develop vehicle connectivity and edge applications. We provide a production-ready hardware to deploy these applications on your vehicle right away. Alternatively, you can also deploy them on your hardware with no integration efforts. Finally, we provide high-level APIs to interact with all the mentioned functionalities of our technology. As a result of this, vehicles communicate with each other, the cloud, the infrastructure to execute safe, compliant, and intelligent operations. Vehicle manufacturers, OEMs, Tier 1s, and robotics companies develop smart connectivity applications and move to production much more efficiently. And on top of that, they create unique use cases to unlock business opportunities and new revenue streams. We're based out of Los Angeles with offices in Europe and Asia. We have partnered up with the best companies on our journey to support us in different domains. Our team is composed of experts in telecom, AI, and autonomous vehicles. Let's build the future of mobility together, safer and smarter. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for presenting SOAR Robotics to us. I would like to introduce you to Interos, which was founded in the US in 2005. Interos helps companies manage risks and continuously monitor their supply chain and business relationships to avoid disruptions. We'll hear more details from their presentation video.
Supply chain disruptions are costly. Our latest survey of senior executives reveals, on average, disruptions cost organizations $184 million in lost revenue per year. But costs go beyond the bottom line. 83% say they suffered reputational damage because of supply chain problems. Facing a future with even more risks and growing repercussions, companies are focusing on operational resilience to ensure their ability to provide product and services in the face of adverse supply chain events. That's what Interos is here to help with. The Interos Operational Resilience Cloud automatically maps, monitors, and models supply chains and business relationships much deeper and farther than ever thought possible. So you can view and know everything, everywhere, in just seconds. With Interos, you will be able to continuously monitor the health of your extended supply chain against 6 risk factors. Identify who your critical sub-tier suppliers are and which countries they operate in. Eliminate suppliers on the denied entities lists, even in sub-tier suppliers. Eliminate ESG risk from suppliers and sub-tier suppliers. Using AI and machine learning, the Interos platform allows you to visualize your supply chain to the nth tier, locating your suppliers and sub-tier suppliers by country, and even down to the voting district level. The Interos platform is the world's largest business relationship graph. It also incorporates the most comprehensive risk scoring methodology that includes a wide range of risk factors, variables, and attributes that look at the firm, country, and industry levels. The platform can be accessed in a SaaS application or via APIs that integrate the best operational resilience information into your procurement, GRC, workflow, RPA technologies, and data lakes. The Interos Operational Resilience Cloud maps, monitors, and models your extended supply chain to identify, manage operational, reputational, and compliance risk. To get started, go to interos.ai.
A big thank you to Interos team for presenting today. Founded in 2014 in Canada, Solas challenges traditional wired power architectures with a wireless power, sense, and data platform based on proprietary capacity technology. We'll now hear more about them.
Hello from Mount Pearl, Newfoundland, Canada. We are Solas Power. You have to ask yourself, when does wireless power add value? And the reason you have to ask this is because a wire is always less costly and more efficient. However, there are many applications that cannot reach their full potential and may cause problems if limited by a physical connection. In fact, some applications may not be possible at all if using a cable or harness.
The vision of Solas has always been to remove the need for wires and cables to provide the freedom and ability to develop practical solutions to these problems and limitations, which is why we've spent the last 9 years and a lot of time and energy in R&D. We're a small company with about 35 employees, including 27 engineers and 7 PhDs, all focused on wireless power technology. We have a deep understanding of the science.
We're delighted to be in a position where we can now offer our technology and the solutions it enables to the market. We've had our first 3 design win for production for 2021 and are extremely excited for what's to come next. Our patented technology excels across many industries, including telecommunication, industrial automation, aerospace and defense, and automotive.
In automotive, we have experience in both interior and exterior applications, including increased seat mobility for autonomous seating and variable tint glass. We use both magnetic and electric field-based technologies and are thus not bound to one specific technology, but we can optimize to find the best solution for your specific use case. Our technology enables new use cases, improved manufacturability, and in some cases can lead to a reduction in carbon emissions. Some of our advantages include a broad range of power levels, high misalignment tolerances, dynamic loading, as well as embedded data.
We are looking forward to talking more about our wireless power technology and answering any questions you may have tomorrow.
It was great learning more about Solas. We'll now go to the US and listen about Sonatus. Founded in 2018, Sonatus helps automakers transform vehicles into data centers on wheels, with next-generation architectures capable of supporting the most advanced future mobility use cases. Now let's hear more about their product.
Automakers are faced with a daunting challenge. They're racing to digitally transform their vehicles to meet rapidly evolving customer expectations, new business opportunities, increasing regulations, and security threats. But the road from today's vehicles, built from siloed ECUs and inflexible CAN networks, to dynamic software-defined vehicles is long and complex. What if automakers could accelerate their journeys toward future vehicles and build unique dynamic capabilities today, without requiring an entirely new EE architecture? The Sonatus Digital Dynamics Vehicle Platform, introduced on Genesis's first dedicated electric vehicle, the Genesis GV60, does just that. Sonatus's innovative platform forms an intelligent foundation for data-centric, software-defined vehicles. We designed our platform to be cloud-empowered and dynamically managed, so that in-vehicle and cloud-based software work together seamlessly. Sonatus's Digital Dynamics Vehicle Platform puts automakers in the fast lane to build the digitally dynamic vehicles needed to win.
Thank you, Sonatus team, for your presentation. Lastly, we will hear about Dato. Dato was founded in 2021 in Berlin, and it's a holistic ESG management suite for enterprises of all sizes. Dato operates with the goal to make enterprise ESG management operationally efficient, legislatively compliant, and strategically insightful without compromising the data sovereignty of any organization involved in the information exchange. Let's hear more about Dato.
We are Dato, and we are the solution for efficient ESG management. Why should you invest into ESG management software now? Or in other words, why should you care about Dato? The reason is that regulatory pressure for mandatory ESG disclosures is increasing drastically all over the world right now. In the EU alone, more than 50,000 companies currently face mandatory ESG reporting requirements as early as next year. The UK, the US, China, and other parts of the world are following up with their own requirements. These will not only affect the companies directly targeted by the regulation, but also all of their suppliers, meaning smaller companies as well. We therefore expect business demand for ESG management software to grow by 21 times over the coming years. Mandatory ESG reporting comes with many challenges. More reporting frameworks means more data to collect. There is a shortage of ESG expertise out in the market, and the current solutions used by companies are simply not scalable. Email and Excel require significant manual effort and are not future-proof for the reporting frameworks that are knocking at the door of companies. Also, there's no unified software solution that helps companies solve all those problems at once. This is where we come into play. Our holistic sustainability suite offers all relevant frameworks on one platform and a simple and efficient workflow management to help companies collect better and more data with less effort than ever before. We aggregate all of the data that is collected and generate compliant reports, and on top of that, we offer insights and analytics through simplified and easy-to-use dashboards. Here's a glimpse at what our tool can actually offer. We are currently developing the tool with 17 European companies who are running data through our platform and have very different backgrounds in terms of their ESG management challenges. We would like you to become one of the next companies we work with. Please reach out to us to set up a dedicated demo where we identify pilot use cases and can in no time start a pilot with you. Thank you for looking at this presentation. We are very much looking forward to working with you.
Hi everyone, you have just finished watching the 7 top-tier startups from all around the world in the field of mobility. I hope you had a great time. Before we move on to the next part, I would like to introduce myself first. I'm Idil. I work as a program manager at Plug and Play Turkey. Today, I will moderate the latest trends in mobility panel where we host Şule, Saad, and Deniz. Hi everyone, it's a pleasure to have you here. So why don't you start with a brief introduction of yourselves, and then I can start to ask my questions. So Şule, let's start with you.
Hi everyone, I'm Şule Türkmen. I'm working in Odak Automotive as an entrepreneurship and innovation specialist.
And Deniz, let's continue with you if you want.
Oh, yeah. Hi, I'm Deniz. I'm currently working as the technical co-founder of Store Robotics. I'm an electronics engineer, and basically my passion is to create resources to bring together teams and try to solve engineering challenges. Yeah, and that's it.
That's great, thank you. And finally, Saad.
Hi everyone. My name is Saad Belda, and I'm coming with an automotive background. I worked, with global car manufacturers in Europe and the Middle East, and today I'm working as a startup founder of a presentation agency.
Perfect, thank you, Saad. So let's get back to Deniz. Deniz, my first question is for you. We have listened to Store Robotics before from you, but it would be great if you tell the story behind it. How did you found this company, and which problem you aimed to solve when you were founding it?
Yeah, definitely. So I have a background in robotics and AI, and we used to develop autonomous robots for industrial and urban use. These were mostly like ground robots, drones. And we have seen that we have been able to successfully operate these fully autonomous robots with minimal supervision. But when it comes to scaling the numbers, we saw that the connectivity was the missing aspect. At first, our goal was to connect all autonomous agents like autonomous cars, drones, robots, you name it. But after talking to many customers and partners, we saw that from mobility and robotics, actually, we saw that the connectivity was already a huge issue. We didn't need to go all the way to the autonomous vehicles. And it was especially even more visible with non-autonomous vehicles such as assisted cars, teleoperated robots, you name it. So, and we saw that the current connectivity technologies didn't meet the requirements for high mobility, immense amounts of data created by these vehicles, and the low latency and high reliability data exchange need between these vehicles. So we have founded Soar Robotics to address these challenges and try developing our technology stack.
Thank you, Deniz, for your answer. So Şule, so you're here representing Otokoç today. And we know that Otokoç gives a huge importance to innovation and entrepreneurship. So my question is, when it comes to mobility technologies, what are your focuses lately?
I support Deniz. Our focus is lately on connected cars, basically. We have recently started fleet management operations, and we plan to connect our whole fleet and rental cars in 2 years. According to our plans, we will invest in a connectivity solution startup together with one of Turkey's most innovative companies. And then secondly, our focus is definitely on data analytics solutions. Mobility does not think apart from data solutions, as we all know. And our history as Otokoç dates back to 96 years. And when we look at the whole history, we see a structure that has come to this day by adapting itself to innovation throughout time. So, however, we have a large structure that contains very valuable and complex data. And one of our main goals is to evaluate those data and adapt them to the innovations.
Thank you, Şule. And Saad, your background is in automotive retail, and you have a tremendous experience in the automotive sector. So working in this field, what are your observations about the recent developments in the automotive industry?
Thank you, Idil. I believe, the responses from Şule and Deniz are not surprising me because the automotive world is really facing some unprecedented, transformation that are mostly driven by industry megatrends. And that is due to 2 factors. The first factor is technology shifts, and the second one is social shifts. So today, the future is already at our doorstep. I mean, we gotta realize that because it's nothing, that is gonna happen in the future. We are already seeing, like the first steps of this transformation. And here I'd like to talk about, some major mega trends happening, that shape the mobility of the future. The first one is the shared mobility, which of course everyone is aware of. It's a new business model that is becoming more and more popular, and people are trying to get away from the traditional, vehicle ownership model. And that is due to the fact that today it's becoming expensive to maintain a car and to own a car. So everyone is focusing on alternative solutions, and that is mostly happening, in urban areas, people with modern consumption patterns. That's one of the first, mega trends. The second one is, of course, autonomous vehicle and self-driving vehicles. People are still a little bit scared about, all the features of autonomous vehicles, but people are gonna realize as well that it's one of the technologies that is gonna prevail, from 2020, 2022 and onward. And autonomous vehicle is basically a way, to provide a safer, a reduced downtime, and a better user experience because it reduces the driver fatigue, and it helps as well to improve the fuel efficiency. So the benefits are really very, very large. The third mega trends would obviously be, predictive and digital technologies, because today we got to talk about cars as being a place where people can work and where people can play as well. So just, the idea here is really, to imagine, the car as a personalized office, where you can have a 24/7 digital assistant. Your driving experience is more productive. It's more custom-made as well, to your own style, to your lifestyle. And it basically provides, a smarter and a stress-free experience. So those mega trends are, probably the most predominant one in the future model of mobility.
Thank you, Saad. It was a really comprehensive answer. Thank you again. So I would like to ask this following question to all of you. Mobility first entered our lives with urbanization. Now it's getting more and more important for the industrial sector as well. So in your opinion, what will be the role of the mobility technologies for Industry 4.0 in the near future? So who wants to start first? Okay, Saad, we can listen to you.
All right. Well, it's really difficult today to quantify, the impact of the disruptive mobility solutions, on Industry 4.0. But if we start with the basics, we know that a lot of cities today are struggling, with congestions, with the noise, with the low air quality, but as well with the aging infrastructure. So here there is something to do about it, because people are seeking a better experience, a seamless experience, when it comes to transportation. And more importantly, what they are seeking is a transportation journey that is both productive, but as well entertaining. That's the objective of all, transportation users. So here we're talking about a kind of a commuting that is mostly about, the user preferences. It's about understanding the traffic data, and as well as, providing a customized experience so everything happens peacefully and seamlessly. And a great example of, explaining how those disruptive mobility solutions have definitely an impact on Industry 4.0 is maybe by looking at, the importance of autonomous driving in urbanization in general. Here, the logic is really the same, because the essence of autonomous driving is, it remains the same. So here we're talking about robot taxis, for example, or shuttles, and those solutions are still believed to address mobility pain points in cities mostly, especially when it comes, to tackle road congestions, crowded parking spaces, pollution. So when looking at those solutions, we got to think about as well all the underlying technologies that enable that kind of things to happen. And here we're talking mostly about, artificial intelligence. We're talking about predictive technologies, the smart data, the integration of data through different platforms and infrastructure. And of course, everything as well would be based, on Internet of Things, the IoT.
Thank you, Saad. And Deniz, do you want to continue? You are on mute, actually.
So I also stand with Saad on this, a bit more on the industrial things of side of things. Actually, I think today it is almost impossible to think mobility and the industrial world separately, because the processes in an industrial system and mobility technologies kind of complement each other. The most prominent impact I see of mobility on the industrial world would be the way that it optimizes the whole supply chain, which is the most visible one that we can see right now. And soon, I think it will be very difficult to tell one from each other, as the technologies used to enable each one of them overlap a lot. And yeah, as again, Saad mentioned, robotics, telecommunications, and AI, all these are enabling unimaginable ways to optimize the production of goods and services, which is on the industrial side of things, and also the movement of goods and services and people. So we really like to think of it as a whole and call it kind of the city 4.0, which will merge the industries and mobility into one big, intelligent, self-sustaining, and hopefully decentralized entity.
Yes, we are looking at a really exciting future. And Shule, let's hear your thoughts.
Maybe I give some supportive comments or examples for those of you. we see several types of autonomous vehicles. Can be applied for very different purposes in terms of the Industry 4.0. For example, last mile shuttle buses for transporting humans and mobile robots, for transporting goods and materials, and also for other robots for example, road cleaning and securing the factory area during all the nighttime. Those are some examples, and all of these mobility solutions make an impact on the industrial world. And so.
Thank you. So let's get back to Deniz. Deniz, could you please talk about the best practices of solar robotics? Who are your customers, partners, and how did your solutions and products help them?
So the main thing that we at Solar Robotics really focus on is the delivery and the deployment of the product itself. We're actually a software company that provides reference hardware, which is production ready, because this is extremely important for us to provide value from day one. So we're not saying that, okay, this is the software, you have to deploy it on some type of hardware. We give the whole package, but we're focused on the value that the software unlocks. By deploying from day one, it also brings us, actually involves us in the feedback loop with these immediate feedback from the field, which optimizes our agile workflow extremely well. We basically enable a platform for the companies to collect, process, utilize, and share data from their vehicles and to the other endpoints as they build their applications on top of our technology. We have deployed novel applications such as vehicle mesh networks, road conditions mapping, and some more standard applications such as safety applications, forward collision warning, emergency vehicle approaching, and some more fleet management applications such as remote teleoperation and advanced telematics. We basically speed up the R&D processes of the companies that we work with, which are actually leading companies in automotive and robotics. We have worked with Suzuki and Maruti in automotive and some of the leading names in the robotics industry. With all that being said, I would also like to highlight that the software can be deployed actually on almost any type of modern onboard computer. So it is safe to say that we're also hardware agnostic.
Thank you, Deniz. So Shule, as we work together, I know that AutoCoach is working with the startups closely. So can you tell our audience, how does AutoCoach work with the startups which provide services in mobility? And did you collaborate with any of them lately?
Actually, I would like to tell you a bit about how our team works. The innovation team in AutoCoach works as a startup company. Our departments are like our customers. They have a bunch of problems to solve. They come to us and we try to understand their problems deeply. And then we do some internal discussions and brainstorming sessions. Sometimes we organize design thinking workshops. And then we come up with the solutions. And then we begin startup scouting compatible with our solutions. And thanks to Plug and Play and you, Idil, we get a chance to meet with the startups from all over the world. And then we meet them and our cooperative department team members, they start to discuss and understand each other deeply. Then after deep dive meetings, we finalize the collaboration and start working together. As a whole process like that. And recently we have collaborated with a wallet service company in order to provide door-to-door services for car needs.
Thank you, Shule. So let's get back to Saad. So Saad, your background is in automotive retail. You even wrote a book about it, which is very interesting. So could you please explain why it is crucial for automotive companies to adopt the latest technologies? And what were your experiences with adopting these technologies to your business?
Well, that's a very tricky question. because definitely, auto retail is one of the dimensions that have been, strongly impacted by those disruptive solutions or those disruptive trends of mobility. The least we can say is those technologies will definitely and started having already, an impact on the dealers' profitability. Let's not forget that dealers are the ones responsible for concluding the sales and making, the industry profitable and alive. So the rise of those mobility disruptions, either they will make the dealers richer or poorer. But the original equipment manufacturers, the car manufacturers themselves, they have to be really aware of the impact of those disruptions, because the profitability is based on a certain number of revenue streams. But with these disruptions, either they will continue to grow or they will erode. But let me give you an example here. So speaking of electric cars, for example, we all know that electric cars, they are performant, beautiful. Everyone, desire an electric car today. But let's not forget that from the dealer side, servicing, an electric car requires a lower maintenance routine, which means that they will be having less revenue streams. And that's only one example. The second example could be something related to autonomous driving. We know that, autonomous vehicles, with the help of predictive technologies, they definitely, help the drivers to reduce the risk of accidents and collisions. Knowing that collision is definitely one of the best opportunity, for the dealers to make profit, that's going to disappear. So how can we replace that revenue stream in case cars are better equipped with predictive technologies? But with that said, let's not forget that when some revenues will erode, definitely some others, will appear. But the dealers will have to be ready and aware of those new revenue streams. So that's one of the ways, how those technologies and those mobility solutions will disrupt the network of the dealers. But with that said, those mobility solutions will always, create new opportunities. So from a retail perspective, of course, it's going to help to reshape the role of a sales executive or salesman. Those people are not expected anymore, to be salespeople. They are more expected to become mobility advisors, because they got to welcome the clients, the customers, and advise them on what the technology is about, when to use it, how to use it. So the car is definitely becoming a lifestyle component of their life, and not only, a commuting tool. So this is another way. A third example could be, for example, the integration of omni-channel strategies. And that's a very important point, because what's happening today, the automotive industry is becoming disrupted more and more, and fishing the right customers is becoming more and more complex. So we got to offer, to the customers, no matter what the channel we use, we need to offer them, the possibility to engage in a step of the journey, whether it's through the digital channels or it's going to be the physical channels. But today we talk about more a technical word that we call the phygital channels, which is the combination of online and offline. And the dealers will have to be ready as well, to embark their customers on that kind of journey, which means that they will need, to invest a little bit more in predictive marketing tools and using artificial intelligence again, IoT, machine learning, and all, the technology tools that we've got in hand today.
I love the term phygital challenge. I love it. I will use it from now on. Okay, then Dennis, we all know that sometimes it can be difficult for startups to work with big corporations. So what are the key challenges you faced when you work with big companies?
Yeah, it's actually a good question, and kind of the answer is also that, working in an almost exclusively B2B landscape,
yeah.
And in addition to that, we have these cyber physical interfaces such as the cars or the robots. It becomes rather difficult for larger corporations to basically keep up with the pace at which we iterate, we innovate, and we want to deploy. As I have mentioned, we're a company that's focused on delivering and deployment. We're basically looking into some newer business models, which will also empower the B2C aspect. We're basically looking at incentivizing people to deploy vehicle to everything technologies themselves and kind of create a network effect, which will also support the OEMs, tier 1s, 2s, and everyone in this landscape. So we're also including the end user in this picture, and that's how we're trying to solve the issue.
Thank you, Deniz. And let's hear from the corporate perspective then. Şöyle, I'm sure there are so many startups watching us here today. So what are your suggestions for startups that want to collaborate with AutoCoach? How do you evaluate startups? How do you expect them to approach you?
Sure. Actually, we are looking for startups in which we can work together. So they need to have a solid product with a proof of concept. For example, for our connected car project, we work together with the startup and create a new product together. And if they have the same dream as us, we put our effort and the time to grow them and help them to scale. And our three main focus verticals actually, automotive, mobility, and digital sales. Automotive covers basically connected vehicles, automotive after sales market, mobility data services. And mobility covers sharing, rental, and micro-mobility in car consumptions and services. And digital sales, basically digital dealership and showroom and distance sales, automotive and mobility, online platform opportunities. So we expect them to focus those areas, like with us, and with a solid product.
Thank you, Şule. So here comes my last question. I know it's a huge question. I'm just wondering your opinion. So what is the next big thing when it comes to mobility? Who wants to answer first? Deniz, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a huge question.
Yeah,
actually,
it's a
but
huge question. Yeah,
I could give like a generalized answer, maybe just correctly managing the amount of data which is being generated and consumed by all the participants of this quote unquote mobility network. So it will, I mean, the data that's generated and consumed, it will not be even close to what we as humans are generating today. It is said that when a vehicle goes autonomous, it generates about 4 terabytes of data a day, which is like 3,000 times more than an average human. So creating a data ecosystem between the end users, manufacturers, developers, all the players in this landscape in a safe, secure, and distributed way, in my opinion, would be the next big thing in mobility, which would pave the way to the fully autonomous, fully connected, electrified, and shared future.
That was a really great answer. Thank you, Deniz. And Şule.
Supportive with the Deniz, I would maybe suggest different scopes. Next big thing will be in micro mobility and shared mobility, let's say. Yeah. For example, there's a huge opportunity for e-bikes for us. Like there are lots of startups raising huge amount of investment to expand their operations recently. And there are also some other micro-mobility solutions such as scooters, mopeds, drones, and so on. And for the first time, the electrified micro-mobility aims to be such a large-scale solution to discuss those challenges and opportunities for people moving in urban areas and also for deliveries. And also our opinions and behaviors are changing accordingly to fight climate change. We need to find ways to decrease our total carbon emissions to fight climate change. So next big thing should be in those scopes.
Thank you, Şule.
Briefly, it's a huge question.
Yeah, that's true. So Saad, let's hear you.
Yeah, well, in reality, it's very difficult to answer that question because if I have to give my opinion from an overall mobility perspective, the next big thing will depend a lot, on the political momentum. That's one, but as well, it will depend on the resources that we're going to be having in hands in terms of developing the infrastructure. From a macro mobility perspective, in terms of orchestrating, transit hubs, in terms of developing charging bases, developing maintenance stations. So the list is really long here. However, an important, aspect to mention in this transformation of mobility, I have to say that it's happening already. And there are already some trends, that could tell us a lot about, the things that could happen maybe in the future. And the evidence of all of that is we are seeing some stuff happening already. And here I'm talking about the on-demand rental. I'm talking about the ride-hailing revolution, for example. I'm talking about the bike-sharing programs, the adoption of e-scooters, micro-mobility, the on-demand shuttles, the intensified production of electric cars. And in here, we're seeing a lot of car manufacturers expanding the lineup of, electric cars. Today, we're talking about, the development of multi-body types, electric cars, sedan cars, hatchback, SUVs, coupe models, and so many others. But if I have to give a status about, the next big thing in terms of mobility, we can just look at, the major investments that were made in the last years in terms of the mobility landscape. We can already start identifying, some investment clusters. And in here, I'm specifically talking about the e-hailing as one of the first clusters. The second one is about, increasing the production of autonomous vehicle sensors. And that says us already, where the industry is headed up to. And finally, the third investment cluster would concern the connectivity and the infotainment. As I have said earlier, the automotive industry is transforming a lot, and we are making of the car, a lifestyle, not just, a commuting transportation mean. So the infotainment here and the integration, with all our digital selves is becoming a huge, big thing. So this is how I would see, the investment priorities progressing in the future.
That was a really interesting angle, Saad. Thank you, everyone. That was my last question. So this is the end of our panel and also at the end of our meetup. We are officially closing our third and last focus week of program 2. First, I want to thank our panelists for taking their time, and it was a great pleasure to listen to their valuable insights. Second, I want to thank our speakers and startups for their participation. We're always learning a lot from them. And lastly, I want to thank our attendees for being here. Hope you enjoyed our meetup and looking forward to seeing you at our next event. Thank you, everyone.